Hi, this is Tom Reardon, math teacher from Ohio. I want to show you how I use TI-Nspire activities in the mathematics classroom. Today we're going to look at multiple representations. This is just one of over 1,000 activities that you can get at TI-Nspire.com. This is the very first page from that document, and we'll see it in a minute. Linda receives an allowance of $10 per week, and she works at a part-time job with an hourly salary of $6.50. Now, as teachers, you can probably already anticipate where we're going with this, but our students, of course, probably not. So there is a student worksheet that comes with all of the activities, as well as teachers' notes and solutions, and we'll talk more about that soon. Let's now look at the activity. I'm using an emulator, TI SmartView emulator for TI-Nspire CX, and it shows what would happen on the student's handheld, and each student would have a handheld with this document on it so they could work at their own pace. Again, there's that first page again. So we'll go on to the second page, and you'll notice what's there on the second page, and we would kind of let the students just kind of look at that, not give a whole lot of direction here. I should tell you that in my classroom, the students have not yet had function notation, so that doesn't mean a whole lot to them. All right, so the directions would be to grab point H and move it left and right. I'm going to do this with an interactive whiteboard. They would be doing it on their handhelds. But watch what happens, what changes and what doesn't. So I'm grabbing point H, moving left and right. Now, in an ideal world, I would love to hear my students say, as I moved left and right, I saw that the domain were whole numbers between 0 and 20, and the range were numbers from 10 to whatever. But I'm happy just to hear, as I go to the left, the numbers get smaller. As I go to the right, numbers get larger. That's fine. I just want them to be interactive. I want them to be involved in what we're doing. Next thing would be to press these two buttons and watch what happens, because this is the key part of the activity. I'm going to press two buttons and watch what happens on the screen. I'm going to press Control and then decimal point, and you'll notice that a point was plotted, and also values were populated into a table. The ordered pair was in the table. The students would be asked then to grab point H and move it somewhere else and do the same thing. Control, decimal point, control, decimal point, and so on, and get about 5 or 6 ordered pairs in the table. And they don't have to be in any special order. Now, as they're doing this, they're noticing that the data does seem to fit a linear model, and we would have them discuss that. And then we would ask them to say, well, how would you find an equation to model this? And we're hoping that they would say, well, pick 2 points, find the slope, find the y-intercept. Notice that I don't want to use a regression here. That's not really teaching much of anything at this point. We would like them to be able to solve this algebraically. And then the discussion becomes, well, which 2 points do we pick? And we know that it doesn't matter, but they don't. So I usually ask them to say, well, in your groups, have each person pick 2 different points and find out the slope and y-intercept. And they discover themselves that it doesn't matter which 2 you pick, you get the same slope and y-intercept. So let's assume that we have done that. Let's go ahead and enter our equation that we think models this. So I'll press the Tab key so that the function input line pops up. And it notices f1 of x. It's in terms of x, not in terms of h or I. And so I know that 6.5x plus 10 seems to be the equation that would model this. Press enter. And you can see that it pretty well fits it pretty well. And the students, even the students that don't like math very much, really like to see connecting the dots. They really, for some reason, they like that. Okay? So we've come up with an equation that models this situation. And now with that, we can predict, if somebody works 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever, we can predict what the income would be. It's about this time that some students are going to notice this section right here, okay, where the function notation is, and says, hey, wait a minute, we've already always known that equation, and so we can talk about that. What I want to do is stop just for a minute. Now I want you to think, as a teacher would, I want you to think of all the mathematics that is present in this problem. We've got slope, y-intercept, rate of change, equation of line, domain, range, and then the big 4, graph, table, equation, and then the words of the problem. This is just full of very, very good math content in a very brief amount of time. And the fact that it's dynamic and changes with the students is outstanding. Then what I'd like to do is consider the use of color here, how color helps students to be able to understand concepts. The domain is always blue in the table. The range is always red. But my favorite place is right here, where this is a domain value in blue, this is a range value in red, because sometimes my students get those two mixed up, and this might be what puts them over that. So in summary, this activity accomplishes more in less time, which buys me valuable classroom instruction time. Okay? I like anything that helps me to teach concepts quicker and better, and then enables me to spend my time teaching. Some teachers have told me they don't have time to use technology. With this activity, I tell them they can't afford not to use this type of technology. This definitely helps better understanding of concepts, and it buys me more time. Key math ideas in this short activity, I had already listed them, but the big four: graph, table, equation, and words, and how they go together. Slope and what it means in a problem. Y-intercept and what it means in a problem. Rate of change. Equations of lines. Applications of mathematics to the real world. And then, of course, the use of color to be able to distinguish the key math ideas and concept: domain, range, function notation, table, and graph. They're all there. So again, this is pretty awesome just to kind of look at it and feel the understanding. And then finally, where do you get this good stuff? TI-Nspire.com. So thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it.